It's the day of conclusion. It's the day where India can rest now after a successful G20 summit. Although bilaterals will be continuing, Prime Minister Narendra Modi over lunch had a bilateral with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron. There are other bilaterals that are lined up as well, including a pull aside with Canadian Prime Minister as well. Those are the visuals coming in with that formal handing over of the ceremony, ceremony to Brazil. It will be Brazil which will be taking forward the G20 presidency. Remember, India got the presidency from Indonesia, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Bali, which was seen as Bali Declaration. Now it is New Delhi Declaration, where India has in many ways redefined and reimagined G20 presidency and G20 as an institution. Those visuals also soon after that formal handing over of continuity, because it's an institution unlike United Nations, which has a secretariat. G20 doesn't really have a secretariat. So Prime Minister Modi during India's presidency tend to define G20 in India's way, where we have seen, yesterday it was the New Delhi Declaration, which is certainly being seen as historic, given the kind of paper, documents that were signed and agreed upon. It's also historic from the point of view of what all happened on the sidelines, given given the visuals that have come in with regards to biofuel alliance for a greater corridor from India, Middle East and Europe. Let's listen in to what the Prime Minister said when he handed over the presidency to Brazil. But he also added that in the month of November, because India has presidency till November, before that there should be a virtual summit in which all leaders should speak and take forward the decisions that have been taken yesterday.
मैं ब्राजील के राष्ट्रपति और मेरे मित्र
the President
लूला डी सिल्वा को हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और मैं उनको प्रेसिडेंसी का गेवल सौंपता हूं।
And Russia's foreign minister on the G20 summit, in fact, Sergei Lavrov held a press conference just a few minutes back, and he said that India's the New Delhi summit is a milestone, and this has happened despite a paragraph on Ukraine. Let's listen in.
And thanks to this consolidated position taken by the Global South countries to uphold and protect their legitimate interests, have caused the West to be unable to Ukrainize the agenda to the detriment of the discussion of the tasks facing developing countries. We call it the Ukrainian paragraph. It is part of the consensus, but it's not about Ukraine. Yes, the Ukrainian crisis is mentioned, but only in the context of the need to settle all conflicts that exist in the world. So, how did India really manage this? Remember, in the run-up or lead-up to the G20 summit yesterday, which was held, just about everyone was of the opinion that India will not be able to manage a declaration because of the differences that are visible between Russia and the West. West wants a strong condemnation of Russia. India, of course, has taken the tightrope diplomatic walk. It has said that the way forward is dialogue and diplomacy, but it has not really gone ahead and taken a position of complete condemnation. Putting national interest first, we have seen how the fuel arrangement has been made as well. I'm looking at what Sergei Lavrov has just said in the press conference, and let me actually read that quote, and I'll ask the producer to play that soundbite. Mr. Lavrov, Foreign Minister of Russia, says,
The summit has been a milestone from the point of view of giving a clear guiding star for us to follow. Another thing that I would like to mention is the active role of the Indian presidency that has genuinely consolidated the G20 members, probably for the first time in history. I mean, the G20 countries from the global south, our BRICS partners, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, have been particularly active. Thanks to these consolidated positions taken by the global south countries to uphold and protect their legitimate interests, have caused the West to be unable to Ukraine the agenda, Ukrainize the agenda to detriment of the success of the task facing developing countries. Let's listen in to Sergei Lavrov again.
Thanks to these consolidated positions taken by the Global South countries to uphold and protect their legitimate interests, have caused the West to be unable to Ukrainize the agenda to the detriment of the discussion of the tasks facing developing countries. They call it the Ukrainian paragraph. It is part of the consensus, but it's not about Ukraine. Yes, the Ukrainian crisis is mentioned, but only in the context of the need to settle all conflicts that exist in the world.
All right. Before I go to Moscow, from where MLA Abhay Kumar Singh will be joining me shortly to give a view of how Vladimir Putin's party is viewing the developments in New Delhi. Let me go straight to Abhay Kumar Singh, MLA of Russia. He is from Vladimir Putin's party. Abhay, thank you so much. G20 leaders agree on joint declaration despite differences between the West and Russia over the war in Ukraine. Just a few minutes back, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has called the New Delhi summit a milestone. He was, of course, speaking at a press conference. And this is despite a paragraph on Ukraine. How is Russia viewing the New Delhi declaration?
G-Summit declaration was a very good declaration. G20 Summit is not a platform for Ukraine, a discussion of Ukraine and Russia topics. This discussion is only for United Nations. So whatever they decided, Mr. Modi decided yesterday, and the declaration was done. That declaration is very good. That declaration is not for West and not for other countries. That is a neutral declaration. It is very good, I think.
And Abhay, the one question that was there on everyone's mind was whether India, as the G20 president, could manage to bring together a consensus document, given the rift between Russia and the West over the continuing war in Ukraine, and the fact that China's President Xi Jinping had skipped this summit. Do you think this consensus was almost unimaginable, or is there an understanding in, Moscow that only Prime Minister Narendra Modi could have achieved, as Sergei Lavrov has just said, that this is for the first time in history that India has managed to consolidate the G20 members?
You are absolutely right. This is a very big work of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He took the neutral decision, and nobody was accepting. A lot of people were saying that declaration will not be signed by West and some few other countries. Big role played. The BRICS country took the big role in this declaration also. So whatever they took the decision, it was neutral decision, and this is a very good command of Narendra Modi and our Russian foreign minister team.
And Abhay, would you say that there is also watering down, because that's a way in which certain Western media is viewing it? The fact is that despite differing viewpoints, all of them came together
on the issue of the ongoing conflict. And interestingly, many countries who had in the past, including UK, had wanted India to take a strong position condemning Russia. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had said that there is a very strong language about Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. And he said that this is a good and strong outcome. So how is this, declaration being viewed by Russia and everybody in the same way?
Ukraine and Russia conflict, it is legal or not legal, time will show. But whatever they wanted, British, German, Mr. Scholz, they wanted that they should discuss, the main topic should be the Ukraine and Russian conflict. It was not done in this summit. So I think Mr. Modi took the best side, best neutral position he took. I think this is the best decision. And this summit is a unique summit because I can imagine very big pressure was in India, on India to take the decision, take the declaration to the West for West countries. So it was not done. India took very neutral position.
Yes, and the sense was that there was some kind of pressure from the West. The West is also lauding this declaration. So is Russia. And all members have agreed also on this point that in the interest of the world, peace, security and conflict resolution is the best way forward.
Yeah, that is true. That is very good thing. And we also support that. Peace everywhere we should respect peace. But how to do it? If West will supply arms to Ukrainians, if West will finance the Ukrainian Nazis, peace will not come. So they should also think what they are doing for this.
Would Vladimir Putin have come for the New Delhi summit?
No, I think he have got some more important work in Russia, inspired to go to India for this summit. I think Mr. Narendra Modi and Vladimir Putin, they are very good friends. They can talk anytime, they can meet anytime. They are very best friends. I think anything, if need, they will decide directly without this summit.
Okay, Abhay, there is also a view of the European Union, which in the past wanted India to take a particular position, of course, against Russia. India chose not to do so, where Prime Minister Modi said that this is not an era of war, but he also said that the only way forward is dialogue and diplomacy. A European Union official has said, and he has been quoted in one of the websites, he said, without India's leadership, it would not have been possible. Do you think India right now is best positioned to play the role of a peacekeeper in this ongoing conflict?
Of course, India has become a very strong, economically strong and financially strong country. And now Russia is in position to show his decision, make his decision, change decision in the world politics. So India should play his major role now. And India is not India, which was approximately 40, 50 years ago. So India is a very strong country now, and he should play a big role in world politics.
Thank you so much, Abhay. Your final thought. Let me give you the your thought, particularly to do with the summit admitting and including the African Union, which includes 55 member states. How decisive is it, and how is Russia viewing this?
Yeah, Russia is very happy to see African countries. And, approximately 1 month, 1.5 months ago, Russia invited, there was a summit, Russia and African Union. All the presidents of African countries, they were in Russia, in St. Petersburg. So in this summit, lot of African head of African country, they told that if some West country receive them, they go by bus, and when Russia receives They are received in the big limousine. So these are some differences. So I think they need some support now. And whatever India did now in G20 Summit, this is a very good decision, and we fully support this.
Abhay, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us from Moscow and sharing the view of Vladimir Putin's party. So I'm sure you're representing his thoughts. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, we are slipping into a short break. Lots more news and updates on the other side. Rishika takes over.